Coming up on Backyard Science, giving your kite the ultimate lift.
How to pick the biggest apple.
And a sneaky way to trap all sorts of creatures. A disaster at sea. Can we raise the wreck?
A nice glass of milk with a nasty surprise.
And attack of the zapping finger. Someone's in for a shock. Run away! Run away!
No running here. This is Backyard Science. We get to the bottom of mysteries no matter how scary they look.
Right now there's a scary situation brewing at sea.
It's a dark and stormy night, and the good ship Backyard Science is fighting heavy seas. The waves are crashing all around. Oh man. Too much wave action, I think. Looks like a drop for the Super Scooper. It keeps sliding. I can't get it. We need something to dive down and grab the ship and come back up. Something like a submarine. And I think I might just have enough junk to make one.
The Zapper has the victim in his sights. She doesn't even know he's coming. Closer, closer. Just one more step. Strike. You're gonna pay for that.
By rubbing your feet along the carpet, you pick up lots of negatively charged electrons. If you bring that charge close to another person, it jumps across, giving them a zap.
It's called static electricity.
But there's more than one way to use static electricity. If I rub my comb with a woolen cloth, I can charge it up too. If I bring it in close to the water, it's bending. My charged up comb is attracting the water. What about bits of paper? I can even make a ping pong ball move without touching it. Static electricity is powerful stuff. There's no way I can breathe underwater. At least, not without a little help from my snorkel. But fish do it with no problem at all. So there must be oxygen in there. I think the plants put it in. I've got an idea how to find out for sure. Just need a pond plant or two. Mum won't miss this little bit. Now, while my fish are off at the movies, I'll borrow their tanks. Put the plants in and cover them up with a big glass bowl. I just have to sit back and watch. There, tiny bubbles.
Unlike people, plants don't breathe in oxygen. They breathe it out. That's what those little bubbles are. They dissolve in the water and give the fish something to breathe.
Good trick, that. Can you imagine a fish in a snorkel?
All those tiny bubbles. And funnily enough, bubbles might come in handy for our underwater salvage team.
I know how to make a tiny diver. Maybe that'll help rescue our ship. You just take an ordinary pen cap and put some modelling clay on the end. You drop it in a bottle of water, catching a bubble of air in the top of the cap. I can make the diver do anything I want. I can make it dive, I can make it surface. When I squeeze the bottle, I'm forcing water into the cap, squashing the bubble, and the diver sinks. When I let go, the bubble gets bigger again and the diver rises.
We're gonna need something a lot bigger to rescue our boat.
I'm working on that, and I think I might just have an idea.
Phew. Hot day. Time for a nice cold drink.
This is going to be so good. Shame you didn't get one.
Hey,
Yum.
can I have a bite? Science to the rescue. I bet you your ice cream that I can move water from this glass into that one without touching either.
I don't think so.
Put your popsicle where your mouth is then.
I'd like to see you fail first. The bet's on.
Right then. I'll just twist this piece of absorbent paper. This will do the job for me. Watch and weep, my friend.
There are thousands of tiny spaces in the fibre of the paper, and the water moves into them and advances along the twisted material.
Trees do the same thing. That's how water gets to the treetops. This movement is known as capillary action.
That's how trees move water from their roots, up through tree trunks and into the leaves.
And look, what have we here? Water has moved from one glass to the other. Orange. My favorite.
I'm gonna cause an eruption right here. It won't exactly move mountains, but it'll be quite a blast. Start with an old bottle. Coat the bottom in a layer of baking soda. And a touch of glitter for fun. Get a quarter of a cup of vinegar. Mix in some dishwashing soap for bubbles and some red food colouring for effect. Now carefully pour it in the bottle. Stand back, she's gonna blow. And that's my volcano.
One of the most famous volcanoes is Mount St. Helens in Washington State, USA. In May 1980, a huge eruption blasted 23 square miles of rock off the mountain. It felled trees as far as 17 miles away. Scientists say it will happen again, but they don't know when. Time to take cover.
What better place than underwater? And I think the salvage team is getting to the bottom of how to get down there.
This bottle ought to do the trick. First, I'll cut in some holes. They should let water in to make it heavy and sink. We'll need a hook to grab onto the sunken wreck. If I attach this balloon to the end of a long tube, put it inside the submarine. Now just stick it in place with some modelling clay. That's it, she's finished. Now the clever bit. The balloon should act like the bubble in the diver. Blow air in, the balloon gets bigger and it should rise to the surface. Let air out, the balloon gets smaller and it should sink. I think we are in the salvage business.
Real submarines actually have two hulls, an outside shell and an inside shell. When they want to dive, they pump water into huge ballast tanks between the two hulls. That makes the sub heavier and so it sinks. When they want to surface, they blow the water out with compressed air.
Uh-oh, that's a bad idea. She's forgotten the milk and cookies. A few hours in the hot sun, and interesting things start to happen to milk. You shouldn't really be doing this. Somebody really should tell her. She's not gonna like this. Don't do it. Oh, yuck, it curdled.
Milk curdles in warm air. That's because the sugar in the milk changes into an acid and forms white lumps. The lumpy stuff is called curds, and the thin watery liquid is called whey.
There's another way of doing the same gross thing. Just pour in some vinegar. It takes a few minutes. The acid in the vinegar made the milk curdle. In fact, the hardest part is getting rid of that taste.
Curdled milk? That's disgusting.
Get a grip, Dana. Take a deep breath. That's what the salvage team is going to have to do to get that ship up.
We've made our submarine to reach the sunken ship. First, a test run. If we let air out of the balloon, water fills the bottle. It sinks. Blow the balloon up. Up she comes. Now to attempt the daring rescue. Let the air out. Down she goes. Carefully. Now up a bit. Missed it. Down again. Got it! Bring her up! We did it! Our salvage sub worked! Great! Now let's see if we can sink the ship again. Oh yeah.
My friend Ben has a fixation with wanting to fly. Right now he's superhero crazy. Look at his ridiculous red cape. I bet he wishes he could just take off. At least Superman could fly. That's more than you could say for Ben's kite. Poor Ben. He gets so down in the dumps when his kites don't work. Mustn't laugh. I think it's time to give him a helping hand. Sophie to the rescue.
There are thousands of different types of kites. People began making them in China at least 3,000 years ago. Some designs are really elaborate, but all kites work on the same principle. They are pushed upwards by deflecting the wind downwards. Kites like these are designed for very precise movement. That means they can be used for stunt tricks, like flying in formation. Other kites are designed to catch the wind so well, they can even be launched from the water. Now wouldn't Ben and Sophie be envious of that?
Alex reckons I can't work out the height of this tree. I'm sure I can. He can be so annoying sometimes, but all I've got to work with is him and our yellow stick. Alex reckons we can measure it if we cut it down. Yeah, right. Just between you and me, I think the stick might be more useful. But hang on, I think I just might be onto something. Maybe Alex wasn't so silly after all. Have you worked it out?
Okay, here goes. I know there are lots of creatures out there that I never see. Time to find out what they are. I've got a secret weapon, the perfect way to outsmart those wild beasts. Dig a hole, just deep enough, lined with a smooth, slippery bowl. And bait the traps with a tasty morsel or two. They won't be able to resist. This little roof will keep out the sun and rain. And I'm not stopping at one trap. I'll need a few to catch my quarry. And now I'll make myself scarce. Don't want to get caught in the stampede. Ah, my first catch! The orange has attracted a huge beetle. And I've trapped a gorgeous centipede. And these beasts couldn't resist the banana. Looks like this is the best trapping spot. These are called pit traps. But remember, the animals can't get out on their own, so they'll need some help. I wonder what I could catch with this piece of dried meat. We'll see tomorrow. This should be good. Now what eats meat around here? Ah, scorpion! Too dangerous for me.
As usual, Blake and I both want to eat the biggest apple. But we can't agree on which one it is. They're all about the same size, but I don't want him to have the largest. Blake reckons he can tell, but as usual, what I think doesn't seem to matter. Anyway, in my opinion, that's the biggest. And then this. And that's the smallest. But I'm still not 100% sure. The yellow one is taller, but is it actually bigger overall? We'll settle it once and for all. I'll just see if I can find something to measure the apples with. Oh, what's Blake doing? That gives me an idea. We'll have to improvise. I'll round up a few bits and pieces that'll do the trick. Let the great apple sizing experiment begin.
Curious. I wonder how Ty's going to make that work.
Well, I wonder if Sophie's going to come up with a kite that'll actually stay up in the air.
Poor old Ben's kites don't work very well. I think the idea is to have a shape that catches as much wind as possible. My design's gonna sort that out. It's really easy to make. What we're gonna end up with is a kite that looks like this. Here's how you make it. Lay out a rectangular piece of plastic garbage bag. Stick down 2 pieces of thin wood, about 1/4 of the way in, from each side. Mark a triangle around the outside of the wood and cut the plastic so your kite looks like this. On the tip of the triangle, fix some tape to make it stronger and punch a hole. Thread a piece of string about 1 meter long through the 2 holes. In the middle of that piece of string, attach another 4 meter long length of string. Here's a kite that'll catch a lot of wind. Now watch the expert at work. There's more to kite flying than I thought. I don't think the shape's the problem. I think we have to work out a better way to catch that wind.
You'd be amazed at how much wind well-designed kites can catch. These kites are strong enough to pull sand skiers along a beach, and even strong enough to take sand yachts for a bit of a spin. Some kites catch enough wind power to lift people right off the ground. But what goes up must come down. Alex has challenged me to find out the height of this tree. All I've got to help me is this stick, and him. But I think I can do it. All I need to do is line up the top and bottom of this stick with the top and bottom of the tree. And turn the stick sideways. Now if Alex stands at the same distance as the tree, and he's right at the end... Stop! Don't move! Now all I need to do is measure from where Alex is to the tree.
My steps are about 1 metre long. 18, 19, 20. The tree is 20 metres high. Ta-da!
That's much smarter than cutting the tree down, Jason.
It sure is, Dana. And I think Ty has a pretty clever way of measuring those apples. Must be clever. I've got no idea how she'll do it.
Blake doesn't realise it yet, but I'm going to show him a tricky way to find out which is the biggest, roundest apple. I'll fill up this container right to the very top. Put an apple all the way in. Don't stick your fingers in. See? Some of the water spills over the top into the tray. I've got to make sure I catch every drop of water and put it in the glass and mark how much water there is. That's how much water was pushed out by the red apple. Top the container back up and in goes the yellow apple. Quite a bit more. It's the green apple's turn. Make sure it goes all the way in. So there's our answer. Green is the smallest, red is the next biggest, and yellow is the biggest of them all.
Ty's clever idea works because of something called displacement. The amount of water pushed out of the bowl is exactly equal to the volume of each apple. The more water, the larger the apple.
Here's another scientific principle. Survival of the fastest.
Imagine a world with only 3 colours. Well, it's true. There are only 3 simple or primary colours. And I'm going to prove it to you. Look at all these colours. I'll show you how they're made. If I sort the colours out, then pour a tiny amount of water in with them, the dye should start to come off. It takes a while though, so be patient. They're ready! I need some absorbent paper. These bits of coffee filters will do. They'll suck up the dye and separate it into the colours it's made from. You can see that the yellow ones are made only with the yellow dye, and the red is made with only red. They're both primary colours, but the purple dye separates into red and blue, our third primary colour. And the brown is made up of all the 3 primary colours, red, yellow and blue. In fact, with the right amounts of the primary colours, you can make any colour, which is just as well because I like them all.
Well, that's one thing to do with colours. Now let's see if Sophie and Ben can get their kite up and flying.
I can't believe my kite didn't get off the ground. I thought I'd done everything right. We need to figure out which direction the strongest wind gusts are coming from. Looks like Ben's had an idea. We could use his pillow slip as a wind sock. Whichever way the pillow slip billows out is the direction the wind's coming from.
Wind socks show wind directions at airports. They also warn parachutists if they're going to be blown off course. Wind socks come in all shapes and sizes, but they all work pretty much in the same way.
And now I know which way to launch my kite. I need to have the kite facing into the wind. That way it catches the full force of the breeze. Yay, it's flying!
If you want to keep your kite up in the air, it's important to keep your flying line tight. If the flying line becomes slack, bring in some line until you feel the tension again. Woohoo! It's flying! Unlike Superman here, kites defy gravity when they stay up in the air.
At least now Superman's getting a bit of flying time, even if his feet are still on the ground.
Just as well it wasn't blowing a gale, or Superman really might have taken off.
Now that would have been a backyard science adventure to remember. See you next time.